I entered like my first math class and they started doing something. So she started doing stuff on the board and everyone's just like, yep. I'm like, what the crap? I haven't seen this before. What the hell?
Yeah.
우리는 학원을 안 다니면 사실 공부 안 한다.
So how do you feel about like your academic experience in like primary school, high school, and university?
Generally good. I liked it. Like I enjoyed it up to uni. I don't really enjoy it now. I remember in primary school, I really liked studying.
Yeah.
I thought I was the smartest kid.
I think like in the early years, in the junior years from year 7 to 10, generally it was pretty chill. Like I didn't study too much. Like I did a lot of extracurricular stuff, so I wasn't actually in class all the time.
Okay.
Which was nice.
I studied in international schools ever since I was in first grade. It was pretty rigorous because it was half local, half international.
From primary school to high school, it's all international school. Education throughout isn't as harsh, and then when I get bad grades, my parents are like, how could you achieve this? Like if you were to get into a local Chinese school, you just drop out.
Like what about the local system is harsh?
Basically, our daily routine was like, you get up at 6 and then we have 1 hour of like morning study and then you have breakfast and then class all day. And then after the classes, you have like 6 to 9 study.
Oh yeah.
And then you go back to the dormitory. So it's
intense.
a
That's a
lot.
lot.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
9시 학교를 가서 elementary school 때는 뭐 1시부터 끝나고 점점 이제 하이스쿨 때는 뭐 4시 이때 학교가 끝나. 그럼 그거 끝나면 뭐 집에 들려서 잠깐 간식 스낵 같은 거 먹고 학원을 가. 뭐 어렸을 때는 뭐 6시 7시 이때 집에 오는데 이제 middle school or high school 때는 9시 10시.
So in Australia, like we have our selective schools test. So that was like the big, I guess, the first big education hurdle that I guess I was faced with. That's when I started doing tutoring and stuff for the first time. It was almost like a second social aspect to it. It was just all of us honestly having a good time. They used to serve us fruit in the break in the middle. It was oranges and apples all the time. And so pretty much used that to prep up for selective. So for the first time, like I was put into like more of a competitive environment with everyone else more at my level. And so in that, when I would do tests with them and stuff like that, I got exposed to this a much more like competitive nature where everyone afterwards is just comparing results and asking like, oh, what did you get for this question? What did you do for this? And then like, it was interesting. I didn't realize how much that would follow through for the rest of my education.
When I came from my primary school, I wanted to go to my local high school. And I was really sad about not going to my local high school because my mother wanted me to go to a selective high school. So New South Wales selective high schools, I feel like before even going to one, I was like, crap, I don't want to go to one of these. But I think when I first got there, I was like, crap, I am not that smart. I entered like my first math class and they started doing something. The teacher, she was our year advisor. She started doing stuff on the board and everyone's just like, yep. I'm like, what the crap? I haven't seen this before. What the hell? But that's why I realized, I was with like pretty gifted and talented people that actually really work hard and really want to do well at school.
It wasn't really till year 11 and 12 where people kind of started like focusing a lot, but it meant that it was actually a really stressful environment to be in.
Not only is everyone comparing every like test and everything, they're comparing every mark, every half a mark.
For HSC, I spent like majority of my life studying.
Really?
I don't remember going out a lot. I went to like the libraries a lot and that was my social life.
I think I took studying a lot more seriously when I was in high school. And by the time I hit the end of year 11, early year 12, I burnt myself out. So when it came to the HSC, I didn't even study for my last exam. Like I sat in the library and I maybe read through the poems like twice. I went into the exam, I finished writing the creative writing piece and I wrote an essay which was supposed to be about 8 pages. I squeezed it all into 2 and instead of using 4 references, I used 2.
Did you do a lot of tutoring yourself in that time?
Not in comparison, I think, to a lot of my peers, no. It just felt like everyone was going for the sake of going.
What's like the average amount of tutoring someone might do in a week?
Let's say someone was studying like math, English, and like physics and chemistry, right? So they probably go tutoring for all 4 of them, or at least maybe 3. So math is probably like, I don't know, 2 hours?
2 hours.
I'd say 2 hours, and in English probably 1 hour, but like one-on-one. Sciences, maybe that's like 3 hours. And then there's like homework on top of that.
우리가 유치원 때부터 학원을 다녀, 우리는. 그때부터 대학을 들어갈 때까지 학교에선 다 배우고 학교를 끝나면 학원을 가.
바로
almost
Every day.
like Korean, English, math, exercise, 음악, 막 피아노
네.
이런 거 엄청 많이 다녀.
아,
그 한국의 분위기가 학원을 엄청 많이 보내. 부모님들이 다 학원을 가. 다 학원을 가.
아.
학원을 내가 안 가면 나만 학원을 안 가는 사람이야. 친구들이
이상해. 너무 이상해. 너
그게 이상한 거야. 우리는 학원을 안 다니면 쟤 공부 안 한다.
Would you say that the tutoring and stuff, did that all contribute to where you are now, like in a really substantial way?
I would say the tutoring in my younger years did not help at all. But in year 12, I had one-on-one tutoring for maths, and that really helped. We were able to figure out where my weakness was and work on that.
To be fair, tutors are actually helpful. I would suggest them if you can afford them.
I don't think tutoring should ever be seen as like a bad thing anyway, because the only thing it's doing is if you don't understand something in class, and classes are only so limiting because, you know, there's one teacher, there's 30 students, there's only a certain amount of time one teacher can give everyone. But tutoring just, for me, it was always more of like a maybe one teacher to about 4 or 5 students, which gave a lot more like one-on-one time and a lot more opportunity to either catch up on things you didn't understand or just help like further or solidify your knowledge in things that you did understand.
Some of the people at my high school, they did a lot of external tutoring, which I personally believe like you did not need. You could have just got all of that tutoring or like that kind of extra support from the school itself. So I don't know why they went out of their way to pay for tutoring, because I feel like that's a waste of money.
Yeah, in university, very different. I don't study at like much at all. I'm more playing, I feel.
At the beginning of each quarter, I always look at the classes and see what I need to do to get what grade. So let's say I want to get A's. Okay, then what's the minimal amount of work I can put in to get that? A's? Yeah. So let's say do I have to go to class? Like if I could do it at home, I would do it at home. I wouldn't go to class so I could chill, you know?
Right.
So I always find the short way out, and I would never go over.
Yeah.
Unless I feel like, okay, I think
Just
I'm falling behind.
Everything is just so crammed in university. You're learning like pretty much a whole year's worth of content in one semester or one term. So I had to become a lot more prepared. I had to plan a lot more, do more consistent studying.
Like at least HSC was a lot spread over 2 years.
Yeah,
or a
exactly.
year. Now it's a lot spread over 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's intense. Were there any like other influences that kind of drove you towards a specific subject or a specific course? Or was everything like your choice?
Probably from 6th to 7th grade-ish. Everything was fixed for you. There you didn't have much of a choice except for like 1 or 2 elective classes.
Well, in high school in general, like there will be like the teacher and also the other students around you, and they kind of give you the pressure that you have to study yourself, and everyone like studies together. But then here, I think it's a more individual thing, like whether you wanna work more. It's like your own choice.
Usually that pressure would come from your parents, but my parents were like chill enough to give me that choice. I did like whatever I liked at that time. Yeah.
My parents never really believed in, or never really like pushed us to study hard. Me and my sister. It was kind of just make sure you do your best.
My mom she used to be a kindergarten teacher like ages back when she was in India. So she was kind of like driving that education not quite early, but like I'd say a good time.
My parents really didn't like force me to go to a specific field. They just really wanted me to like being able to get a job, and feed myself. They don't have to like, you know, feed me all the way.
돈을 많이 버는 직업을 가질 수 있는 코र्스를 선택하는 걸 원하거나 돈을 많이 벌진 않는데 안정적이라고 생각을 해서 요즘 많이 하고.
Mostly it's independent, but my parents do like have their inputs now and then. They'll be like, oh, you know, doctor, lawyer, dentist. Yeah, and I'll be like, oh, no, I don't really like it. So like I do listen to their inputs, but then I kind of like weigh it up, see if it's like for me, and then I just make my own decision.
Not from any outside sources. If anything, it was like pressure on myself without really noticing it. It's kind of more like how am I going to get a job in the future would kind of dictate what I was studying.
Reflecting back, are there any regrets?
Regrets? Ooh. I think I could have studied a bit harder.
Not really. If anything, I should have done a different degree.
Right.
Because like I feel like the degree I did is kind of very wishy-washy and it's all over the place. So I can't really use that as like a basis in like, say I go for like a job interview.
Right.
I can't say I know this in detail. I can do this and this and this because I can't.
I don't have much regrets. I did my best in most of the time. I didn't really do too bad in anything.
공부를 더 열심히 했었어야 돼.
너 지금 전공 공무원 맞지?
공무원이 되기 위해서.
왜 그전 후회 했을까? 더 열심히 했으면.
I don't like my course.
공무원 안 좋아?
I hate it.
No, I'm pretty happy with what I did in high school. I think I know I've always been the kind of person who just like, if I want to do something, I'll go and do it. Like, and I'll get into it early. The only bad thing that happened in high school was in year 12 HSC. I just like there was a whole like term where I just didn't study. Like I just wasn't motivated, didn't care about anything, spent all my nights on YouTube. That experience like taught me a lot about like what matters to me and like how to deal with stress. So I don't regret it. It was just kind of a not so nice place in my life.
I would regret not studying hard enough in first year.
In uni, for university.
Yeah, because then like you're starting off on like a back foot pretty much going forward. And then like, it's so hard to pull back your average after that. So definitely like work harder in first year and then like drop off. You can just drop off afterwards.
Cool.
I think I wish I kind of tried out for NIDA because originally I wanted to become an actor when I was coming out of high school. And what if I got in? Where would I be now?
I just feel like maybe I should have done more, but that's only based off like some of the people around me and how hard they were going. It's like, should I have been at that level? But then if I look back, it's like, no, I actually had quite a good time. I managed to make more free time for myself and just be a bit more, happier during that period instead of just under a mountain of stress the entire time.
Like if anyone wanted to study better, do you have any like golden tip that got you to where you are?
First off, definitely start early because that's a cushion for you to make a lot of changes. And after that, like analyze like what you need to do, like step by step. Have that clear path in your mind, and then definitely start early. So, because you can never foresee the future. That's only like a plan, right?
Yeah.
But there's also always like contingencies that could happen. And you have to like get ready for that.
Take out a notebook and have your pen move.
Do a lot of practice, maybe like write out the formula, do a lot of practice questions.
A lot of those people, like the inspirational ones that go into high schools that tell you like tips how to study, don't trust them when they say you should listen, like record yourself speaking your essay and then listen to it overnight because you can't sleep. But actually, one thing that I found a little bit helpful was sticking up notes when you're in the shower, on the outside of the shower. It actually helps.
I think being a little bit busy is actually helpful for making you procrastinate less. You kind of have to just know your limits. Like sometimes if you're tired, it just means you need a break.
Creating a story, connect one concept to another concept through like a story that you made in your head, and then it becomes like a flow and you will remember it way easier.
I would have like the entire essay like written out in front of me. I would practice it as a speech instead, and then you can just say it back in your head as you're writing it down. Like that's the last step to get your writing, fixed up.
I feel like you don't need to study everything. You just need to game the system. I know it sounds pretty ridiculous, but there's a way of studying that you can study smarter just so that you can like target what they're pretty much going to ask for.
Yeah.
The stuff that I've learned most from high school and university hasn't actually been the actual content that I've been learning. It's kind of getting involved in those kind of opportunities that the school offers,
like
extracurricular stuff, anything outside of the classroom, and the same for university. That's kind of where you learn most, I feel like, about yourself, and also soft skills. That's where I learned the most. So all of the content at uni and high school, it's just like, I don't remember anything.